Hey, good morning. I'm going to be continuing to do a reading of Tiger Technology, the introduction. This is the creation of the semiconductor industry in East Asia. The rise of East Asia as a global economic power has been one of the great transformation processes of our time. Countries such as Korea, Taiwan, and Singapore, which a generation ago had lain in poverty, have lifted themselves up to become generators of wealth through manufacturing and trade. Their success has overturned earlier approaches to economic development in that the East Asian countries were outward rather than inward oriented. Their success was based on integration into the world economy through exports, technology transfer, and access to foreign capital. This success was also founded on innovation in political economy, such as mechanisms for the accumulation of capital, the formation of developmental consortia as an assortment for the rapid deployment of technological upgrading, and pilot or steering agencies of government to coordinate investment, which have no counterpart in the developmental traditions of the Western countries. The sources of what the World Bank came to call the East Asian Miracle, in quotes, East Asian Miracle, 1993, have been the subject of prolonged scholarly debate. Early attempts to come to grips with the magnitude of these countries' achievements tended to be polarized. On the one hand, there were strong proponents of the view that the miracle was the outcome of unfettered market forces and responsible minimalist government intervention to get prices right. On the other hand, there were scholars who saw in the miracle the guiding hand of strong developmental states whose agencies intervened in the economy to get prices wrong. Amsden, 1989. That is, to steer the economies toward investment and development targets which would otherwise lie beyond their capacities. The landmark World Bank report took the debate to a new level by arguing that the East Asian successes were the outcome of guided markets, where market forces were used as the primary tools of development, but subject to the guiding hand of government institutions and agencies, which ensured the capital was channeled to productive activities. These accounts apply on the macroeconomic level, and only rarely do they engage with the sectoral level. But it is at the technological level that real dimensions of the East Asian successes are revealed, and it is through the lens of technology and the microprocesses of strategic development that may best be viewed. Any visitor to East Asia is struck by the advanced technological prowess of countries such as Korea, Taiwan, and Singapore. Japan has moved beyond catch-up to become the technological giant in its own right. This expertise won through the intense efforts at acquiring advanced technologies and becoming integrated into the world technological mainstream. Rather than being content to compete at the margin, has generated remarkable achievements in economic growth and productivity enhancement that lie at the core of East Asian Miracle. The technological achievements of the East Asian economies go beyond the familiar labor-intensive and capital-intensive forms of industrialization, which were the subject of World Bank analysis, and have penetrated deep into the advanced technologies and industries such as electronics, information technology, and semiconductors or chips that feed into these sectors. In the space of a decade, Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, China, and Malaysia have all entered the high-technology world of chip fabrication. They follow in Japan's footsteps, a country that had inserted itself into the mainstream of chip fabrication in the 1970s. And become the world's dominant producer of memory chips, DRAMs, in the 1980s. DRAM. DRAM is dynamic random access memory. In the 1980s, Japan lost its leading role in DRAM's production in the 1990s not to the US, but to Korea. The Korean firm Samsung took the world lead in chip production in 1993, only a decade after launching its first memory chip product. Samsung's entry into the industry, like that of the other Korean firms, Hyundai and LG, was accomplished through its own internal efforts, supplemented by leveraging the most advanced product and process technologies available in Japan, Europe, and the US, which were fitted together quickly and efficiently into formidable production systems. In Taiwan, where its semiconductor industry was created in the 1980s, public sectors, laboratories such as the Industrial Technology Research Institute, ITRI, played the role of conduit of technology required, leveraging the technology through transfer agreements with source firms in the U.S. It then devised various means for the rapid dissemination of technological capabilities to the private sector, even creating firms where they did not already exist, such as the case of TSMC and UMC, Taiwan's two leading semiconductor firms in the late 1990s. In the 1990s, the firms themselves have taken the initiative to upgrade to more sophisticated semiconductor technologies such as DRAMs and communications ICs, again through technology leveraging from American and Japanese partners. In Taiwan. In Singapore, a semiconductor industry has been created largely through the investment of multinationals from the US, Europe, and Japan. And in the 1990s, from the East Asian countries, Singapore has successfully raised its local skill and technological levels from these multinational activities so that there is now a flourishing cluster of small and medium service firms, as well as indigenous Singapore wafer fabricators such as Chartered Semiconductor, part of the state-owned Singapore Technologies Group. Singapore Technologies Group. But by the late 1990s, these non-Japanese East Asian industries are well established as leading players in the most sophisticated of knowledge-intensive industries, accountable for 30% of world investment in new semiconductor wafer fabrication facilities. There's a puzzling aspect to these achievements that forms the starting point for our inquiry and analysis. The entry by Korea, Taiwan, and other countries into advanced sectors like semiconductors was achieved without any apparent reliance on conventional sources of high technology support, such as high levels of R&D expenditure and innovation activity within firms. The firms which have come to prominence, such as Samsung, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, or Singapore Technologies, initially lacked all of those basic resources. They acquired technological capabilities by engineering various kinds of linkages with advanced firms through contract manufacturing, licensing, joint ventures, and other forms of inter-firm collaboration, while maintaining a fiercely competitive approach to winning markets and rapidly developing copies of products introduced by leading firms elsewhere, such as Silicon Valley. Such actions have been the tools of diffusion or dissemination of technologies historically but the process usually spans decades. In East Asian latecomer firms, the transformation has been wrought in under 10 years, an unprecedented result that demands analysis. Such technological achievements simply cannot be explained in terms of the general macroeconomic frameworks used in the debates over the East Asian miracle. The technological transformation of East Asia calls for an account that can shed light on process specific to the acquisition of technological competences. We aim to establish the key to East Asian success in high technology or knowledge-intensive industrialization cannot be found in standard labor and capital efficiency accounts. It lies instead in the mechanisms for acquiring and enhancing technological capability through various contractual forms of leverage, such as engaging in original equipment manufacturing, licensing of technologies, and joint ventures. And we're going to stop here. That was about 3 pages of reading, but I will continue later today or tomorrow. And thank you for tuning in.